Wander sits in a jail cell. He is back in Idaho, accused of killing young Michael Vaughan.
You're pure evil. You have no heart. You have no soul.
Wander is accused of murdering her then 5-year-old son in 2021. Would you think you'll ever get the answer as to why?
No, because there is no answer to why. Why would somebody hurt an innocent little boy? What answer could you give? What answer could you possibly give? How scared was he? Did he ask for me? Did he ask for Tyler?
Stacy Wander has been charged with first-degree murder and second-degree kidnapping and destruction of evidence.
Michael "Monkey" Vaughan went missing from his Fruitland neighborhood on July 27, 2021.
This is a criminal investigation.
Now, more than 4 years later, in newly unsealed court documents, Fruitland police named 4 people they believed are involved in Michael's murder. Those 4 names are ones we've heard before.
This is Sarah Wander. This is Sarah's husband, Stacy Wander. This is Brandon Shirtliff, Adrienne, Lucienne.
As for what these 4 people have in common, they were all staying at the Wander's home when Michael disappeared in 2021. That's just half a mile from Michael's home where he was last seen. In the PCA, police pointed to video evidence they say showing Shirtliff walking around the neighborhood. They say Shirtliff helped move Michael's body in a duffel bag temporarily to his mom's home in Kuna before standing guard as they buried him in the Wander's Fruitland backyard. Stacy Wander told police the 4 hoped to sell Michael for $10,000 each. He says the idea came from Adrienne Lucienne. Idaho News 6 is now learning Lucienne was arrested and released in Indiana in October for a traffic-related misdemeanor. Sarah Wander is currently serving time in the Idaho State Prison System for unrelated charges. She's eligible for parole in early 2026.
Karen, is there any connection between the Vaughan family and the home where police had been searching?
No, we've heard this more than once from the family representatives and from the police department that there is no connection between the Vaughan family and the home where this search took place.
As you know, from the time Michael went missing, this has been an all-hands-on-deck investigation, and it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughan could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wander, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, the Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of the Wander's home. During that excavation process, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Mountain States detection dogs deployed multiple certified human remains detection dogs on the property, all of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Ground penetrating radar was also used and deployed, detecting anomalies in the backyard. We completed the excavation of the entire backyard and removed over 250 yards of dirt. Prior to backfilling the yard, the dirt was meticulously sifted for any potential human remains. We did not find Michael's remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughan were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property. As of today, the whereabouts of his remains are unknown. However, the investigation is active, fluid, and ongoing. Once the excavation was complete, we conducted a thorough search of the Wander's residence. The search was productive, and additional investigative evidence was recovered and is currently being processed.
An hour's worth of body camera footage showing Stacy Wander FaceTiming with detectives and directing to where Monkey's body was buried in his backyard.
It's like right under that mound area. It's right under the mound. About where at compared to the trees?
A little like right to the right of the trees area. It should be, it should be a garbage bag.
Okay, what color is the garbage bag?
It would either be white or black. We only have two colors.
Is the duct tape still going to be over his mouth?
It should be.
Okay.
I didn't watch take them off.
Okay.
So you should have everything intact as it was.
He claims he watched the burial happen.
Okay. How far down is Michael?
I don't know how far she actually dug.
And the she he's referring to, that's his wife Sarah, another suspect in the case. Stacy says Adrienne, a third suspect, was also there for the burial.
Out of 300 homes, police say canines tracked Michael's scent to the home where Stacy, his wife Sarah, and their two roommates Brandon Shirtliff and Adrienne Lucienne lived.
As Joe mentioned, a newly released probable cause affidavit filed in June lays out the interviews following Michael's disappearance. Again, during these initial searches, police say canines tracked Michael's scent to the fence line of the home where Stacy Wandra, his wife Sarah, and their two roommates, Brandon Shirtliff and Adrienne Lucienne, lived. All four of those individuals have been named people of interest in Michael's disappearance. One of Michael's neighbors told police they saw Michael riding a bike outside of the Wandra's home the day that he disappeared. Another neighbor said they saw that same tricycle at the Wandra's home during a garage sale months before Michael disappeared. The Wandras initially denied any involvement, but then in November of 2022, Stacy asked to meet with investigators. The PCA states Stacy claims he was home the night Michael was allegedly abducted and saw Sarah carrying Michael into the house. Stacy allegedly told police it was Adrienne's idea to take a child to sell for money, and they would get a $10,000 cut. Stacy claims Sarah told everyone to, quote, follow her lead. Stacy told investigators they took him to Brandon's mother's home in Kuna that night, where they left Michael overnight. Stacy claims the other three returned to Brandon's mom's house the next day and brought Michael back to the Wanderers' home in Fruitland. Stacy told police Michael was not alive, and Sarah and Adrienne buried him in the Wanderers' backyard. 2 days after Stacy's interview with police, they executed a search warrant and excavated the Wanderers' backyard. The affidavit says cadaver dogs alerted to the same area where Stacy told detectives Michael's body was buried, but to this day, Michael has not been found.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you today. It is December 4th, 2025. My name is Samantha. Welcome in to Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. I hope everybody is having a great day. And we got to start this live out with a little bit of dancing because Chuck Sanders' daughter has become a PNW whisperer. Thank you so much for becoming a member of Missing PNW. You have been a longtime watcher, and so was your grandfather. And it was so sad to hear about his passing, and thank you so much for becoming a member. I really appreciate that. Welcome in, everybody. It's going to be a great live. Let's see who is here. Thank you, beautiful moderators, for coming in. Hair curlers in crime. You got your name back. Oh, Sarah Suspicious is the one that lost her name. Sorry. How are you doing, hon? Best YouTube name on the YouTube streets. Halo Art, thank you so much for coming in early. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of the moderators so much for coming in. Rhonda is in the house. Ashley is here. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Thank you guys for coming in and supporting Michael Vaughan and the Vaughan family. I know they appreciate it. I know Brandy watches everything. She really, truly does. She advocates so well for her son. Texas Lady is in the house. I am from Texas. Thank you so much for being here. Outdoors Life, thank you so much for being here. It's so great to see everybody today. Nicole is here. Good to see you. Just looking around. The real ICU is here. Oh, and chat's going by so fast, I almost lost you there. Thank you for coming in. Connie Branch. So many lovely people come in. I had like the best chat ever. There's never any drama. I absolutely love that. Knock on wood. What is this? C-Sism. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. Thank you for coming in. Miss Rizzo is in the house. Thank you for coming in, hun. Always good to see you. All right, you guys. Sally Mae is here. Thank you for coming in, hun. Clever Phase is here. Thank you so much for coming in. All right, you guys. For those that do not know or did not watch the last live, we're going over the rest of the clips. Ruby Slippers, nice to see you, hun. The rest of the clips from Adrienne Lucienne's friend, we're going to call him Jay. Brandy Vaughan is in the house. Thank you so much for coming in, hun. She says, love you all listening. Keep falling asleep, she says. Meds are wearing off. Thank you, Sam, and everyone for being here for Michael. Well, thank you for coming in. I hope you are feeling better, and I'm glad those meds are wearing off a little bit. I was thinking about you so much when I got up this morning. So much. It's always good to see you in here, hun. Candy Bowers is here. Thank you. Justice Jane is here. Under Your Scars is here. Thank you guys so much. So the rest of the clips we're going over. His name is Jay. He was Adrienne Lucienne's best friend. Has been his best friend since like second grade. If you guys didn't watch the first part, you can always go back and watch that. And before we get into those clips, we've got a few things to talk about, don't we? Why? Because Brandon Shurtleff and Stacy Wandra, they tick me off. They really tick me off, you guys. Trish is here. Thank you so much for coming in. First, let's talk about Michael Vaughan. Michael Vaughan was abducted July 27th of 2021 in Fruitland, Idaho, in his neighborhood. Michael wandered off away from the house to look for friends to play with, and there were 4 suspects that live in that neighborhood, and now we know because of the probable cause affidavit that was released when Stacy Wandra was arrested for first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence. We know that all 4 suspects, according to their phone data, were in the neighborhood at the time that Michael Vaughan was abducted. And if anybody has a tip at all, please come forward, call law enforcement 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. No tip is too big or too small. There are 4 named suspects in Michael Vaughan's case. Stacy Wandra, like I just said, has been arrested and charged. Sarah Wandra is still serving time on unrelated GUN charges, and she has a parole hearing in February 2026. Adrienne Lucienne is still a suspect. That's who we're talking about today. After we get done talking about Stacy and Brandon a little bit, and Brandon Shirtliff. Brandon Shirtliff is still a suspect in the Michael Vaughan abduction and murder. All 4 suspects were updated in January of 2025. Let's not forget, out of 300 homes, dogs hit on the Wandra's house. Dogs that are trained to smell scents. And they hit on Michael Vaughan's scent, and it went straight to the Wandra's house. J.D. Huff has said that he believes that there is evidence to prove that Michael Vaughan was once buried in the Wandra's backyard, and that his body was later moved to a different location that is unknown. Stacy Wandra has mentioned that he believes that maybe Sarah had something to do with Michael being moved. A lot of people, including myself, also believe that Brandon Shirtliff knows exactly where Monkey is. Monkey is a beloved name given to Michael Vaughan by his family. Multiple cadaver dogs hit at the Wandra's house after Stacy Wandra gave the tip that Michael was buried in his backyard. Cadaver dogs also hit at Tina Mariel's house. Tina Mariel is Brandon Shirtliff's mom, and now we know, because of the probable cause affidavit, that Stacy Wandra says that Brandon Shirtliff gave the duffel bag to Sarah to put Michael in and transport him to his mother's house. Brandon took, according to Stacy, Michael into his mother's house and put the duffel bag with Michael in it in the spare bedroom at his mother's house. Brandon, we are watching you. I have received so many messages. Again, if you have any tips, 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Law enforcement will decide whether or not your tip is credible. Please just call in if you have a tip. It's so very important to do that. Don't let anything that you're feeling inside just stay inside. If you feel like you should be calling in a tip, then you should be calling in a tip. I have received so many messages about Brandon Shirtliff being released from custody in Canyon County yesterday. Brandon Shirtliff is out of custody. He served his sentence in Canyon County. That does not mean law enforcement isn't doing their job. That doesn't mean that the prosecutor isn't doing his job. It means that he served his time on the warrant that was given to him for probation violation. That does not mean that he will not serve time. Many people wanted him arrested, like Stacy was. They let Stacy out down in Maricopa County in Arizona, and then they rearrested him. Unfortunately, that didn't happen to Brandon, but that doesn't mean that Brandon won't get arrested. Okay? I'm going to talk about something else real quick, and then we're going to get back to Brandon Shurtleff. Like I said during the last live, Stacy Wandra has been trying to do crazy stuff. He's trying to move his court date from December 16th into January. There is a scheduled court date on December 11th. Then there is another scheduled for December 16th, a preliminary hearing. But now I am not sure if that date has been moved because of something else that I saw today. Then there is another date scheduled. It's a status conference there at the courthouse. This is all involving Stacy Wandra. But I saw this. It was actually sent to me by somebody. And it says preliminary hearing for Stacy Wandra was scheduled on 12/16/2025. There was a status change in a court event for Stacy Wandra. Does that mean that he was successful, that his lawyer was successful, and that they are going to reschedule the preliminary hearing like Stacy Wandra keeps saying? Stacy Wandra is even telling people he's getting out in February, according to his attorney. I laughed so hard. I can't believe that Stacy Wandra thinks that after he has told law enforcement his involvement, Sarah, Stacy, and Adrien's involvement, that they were all going to collect $10,000 each for trying to sell Michael after they abducted him and murdered him. He thinks he's going to get out? Come on. I'm blown away by his ego. It's not happening. Was there another thing that was? Yeah, the location, Payette County Courthouse, is where all of this has taken place, and date may change, is what it says. So I'm just keeping an eye on the court records. We'll see if the preliminary hearing for Stacy Wandra gets changed. It could, but that doesn't mean he's being released. And I don't know why I just can't believe. I'm dumbfounded by the fact that he thinks he could be getting out in February. It's ridiculous. And it's kind of pissing me off. But a message for Brandon. Brandon. Just want you to know, the prosecuting attorney's office, Mike Duke, put out October 31st. My office is moving forward with charges against the individuals, plural, individuals, not just Stacy Wandra, in the disappearance and murder of 5-year-old Michael Vaughan. And anywhere in that, Brandon, Adrienne, Sarah, Stacy, does it say you guys are being released? Does it say you guys are going to walk free? No. It says that the DA's office is going to be moving forward with charges against the individuals. So even though Brandon Shurtleff was released from Canyon County, does not mean these charges aren't going to come. It really does not mean those charges are not going to come. Law enforcement is doing their job. Mike Duke is doing his job. And for whatever reason, they are not charging Brandon at this time, Adrienne at this time. We know Sarah's going to be charged. There's a probable cause affidavit that is charging her. It's just not really official yet. Like, it's not all over the news. They haven't just came right out and said it. They haven't set a hearing for her like they have for Stacy. Doesn't mean Sarah isn't going to be charged. It's already written out. 1st degree murder, 2nd degree kidnapping, destruction of evidence. The same thing on her probable cause as Stacy Wandra's. These suspects can only think in their wee little minds that aren't really working right, think that they could be free for forever after a 5-year-old little boy has been killed. Come on now. Rogue, thank you so much for coming in. Exactly. Nicely done and nicely said. Brandon and Adrienne were named suspects by Fruitland PD. They have evidence of their involvement. Facts. It is facts because there is evidence, you guys. Tell Ellie, well, Michael is Brandon. Do you even have a soul? Tell where he is. Be a man and do it right. You can't ask God's forgiveness when you don't tell the truth and bring Michael home. Michael's parents and Michael's family wanted Michael to come home alive, to live the rest of his life. He just turned 5 years old when he was abducted. Michael is coming home to be put to rest. This family has suffered enough. Brandon, I hope you're really not thinking like Stacy's thinking. Like Stacy's been arrested and charged and he just thinks he's going to get out in February. Are you now free thinking you're just going to stay free? Adrienne, are you thinking that you're going to stay free? Come on. There is evidence. They got to cross their T's, dot their I's, do whatever it is that they've got to do before they make their arrests. It's just mind-blowing to me. So I hope with everybody that has messaged me, talked to me, just blown away. I'm kind of blown away too, you guys. That doesn't mean that they're not doing their job. That doesn't mean that charges isn't coming. Charges are coming. The DA put it out on October 31st. I'll say it again. Moving forward with charges against the individuals in the disappearance and murder of 5-year-old Michael Vaughan. It is coming. We got to be patient. Rogue is in the house. Prettier Cessor just came in. Nice to see you guys so much. I am really, I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of just really stressed out about it all. I can't even imagine how the Vaughan family is feeling right now with everything going on and Brandon's release and Stacy's arrest. And they know they've got court hearings and everything else. And then the holidays are here and Monkey's not at home with them. I'm stressed for them. You know, we all want things to happen right now. Things don't happen right now when we want it to happen. It's going to happen when law enforcement and the district attorney feel like, okay, we can move forward, we can be successful. They have one chance to do this, guys. One chance and one chance only. And if they mess up in any way, shape, or form, game over. They walk the streets forever. And we don't want that. We want them to have everything they need put together. You know they're watching them. Brandon Shirtliff was getting pulled over. I mean, they've been watching him since he got back to Idaho after he left his dad's house over a year ago. They were constantly checking in on him. So don't think law enforcement doesn't know where these suspects are or what they're doing. I truly believe that they do. There are too many people in Idaho, for one, watching Brandon Shirtliff. And there are people down in Indiana watching Adrienne Lucienne. That is a fact. Let me just share this, because I think with Brandon being out right now, let him watch the internet. Let him watch the TikToks. Let him watch the lives. Let him watch the news, because since he was released yesterday, his face is all over the news in Idaho. Not only that, when the probable cause affidavit came out, Adrienne and Brandon are also on the news, because Stacy said that it was Adrienne's idea to sell Michael. Brandon is the one offering up a duffel bag to transport Monkey to his mom's house. These are suspects, named suspects, and they can believe all they want that nothing's going to happen. It's just not true. It just isn't true. Brandon Shurtleff, you're all over the news. All over the news. Let me see. Maybe I need to. Come on now. Let's watch a clip here. Ads.
We begin with an interesting note. The former roommates of the man accused of kidnapping and killing Michael Vaughan has been released from jail. The Canyon County Sheriff's Department says that Brandon Shurtleff served a 30-day sentence for failure to complete a sheriff's inmate labor detail in 2020 and 2021. He served 6 days in Kootenai County's jail and then 24 days in Canyon County. Vaughan was 5 years old at the time. He went missing in front of his family's home in Fruitland in 2021. During an investigation in 2022, police canines tracked Michael's scent to the home where Stacy, his wife Sarah, and their 2 roommates, Shurtleff and Adrienne Lucienne, lived. And all 4 of those individuals have been named people of interest in Michael's disappearance.
Everyone loves a holiday loan. Well, Merry Christmas, Idaho. Dollar Loan Center offers signature holiday loans up to $5.
And there you have it. People of interest. They are people of interest. They are suspects. Law enforcement is watching them. They're not getting away with anything. Thank you for coming in, Miss Thornton. They're watching him, probably hoping they will return to where Monkey is, maybe. Maybe. We don't know. Truth to Light, thank you so much for coming in. Death penalty is on the table for y'all. The one who gives them Michael will be saved with a life sentence. Yep. Exactly. But I hope I'm answering everybody's question when I say, because there's so many people so upset that he wasn't arrested. That does not mean that charges aren't coming. I had one person say they took Michael to Brandon's mom's house. Dogs hit at Brandon's mom's house. We know they were at Brandon's mom's house. Why isn't Brandon being arrested? I wish I had an answer for that. I'm not privileged to all of the information. I just know that charges are coming because of what was put out October 31st. And that just is the same thing that Brandy Vaughan and the Vaughan family was told when the DA showed her all of the paperwork they had months and months ago, telling her that the 4 suspects in Michael Vaughan's case was going to be arrested, charged with murder and kidnapping. And she saw the paperwork. Some information was redacted from that paperwork, but she's seen it then. They have been working on this, getting everything ready. Now, I know everybody is also here to watch the rest of these clips. So just a little bit of an update. hopefully Brandon's thinking he can go move the body, and that way no one can say where he is and the police will be waiting. Hopefully. That would be great. Or hopefully Brandon was in jail and talked to law enforcement and told them something already and they're working with him or something. I don't know. I do not know. It could be anything right now. Ms. Thornton says, "Oh, I believe I know charges are coming. The evidence shows Brandon was last with him. It's a red flag and dogs hid at his mom's house." Yep. So there's that. Exactly. Just want to update everybody. Hello, AV. Thank you so much for coming in, hun. Jay is a childhood friend, has known Adrienne Lucienne since the 2nd grade. We went over 4 clips that were approximately 45 minutes, I would say. What was it? On Tuesday. And we're going to be going over the rest of those clips. We have learned about Adrienne Lucienne's life, that his mom was an attorney, that his dad had a great job before he became a drug addict, and his dad then also became abusive in the house. Adrienne's mom left the home and moved to Washington, D.C. after battling many, many years of breast cancer. She ended up getting breast cancer again, passed away in 2016. Adrienne Lucienne, according to his friend, he believes that Adrienne caused a lot of stress on his mom and that he is the reason why she didn't make it through her cancer treatment, or the stress that he put her under caused things to move a lot faster than normal. And we know stress does that to your body. We have learned about Adrienne Lucienne being in Catholic school, private school, in the academy. He's a terrific basketball player who all of a sudden doesn't even want to watch or talk about basketball anymore. Adrienne chose a different life after having a good upbringing. But we also know, which is very sad in Adrienne's life, that Adrienne Lucienne was assaulted as a child by a priest in Catholic school. We also know that he was assaulted while he was at the College of Southern Idaho doing his basketball stuff. We heard names like Nate Miles, Alexi, Renee being somebody who was supposed to show support to all of the basketball players there at CSI, who ends up having sex with all of the boys at CSI, buying them clothing, giving them money, and all in trade for sex. Adrienne and all these boys were being manipulated by her. Renee has ties to trafficking. There is also trafficking. Nate Miles, Alexi, not just human trafficking, but also drug trafficking. These are huge, huge pieces of information that was on the last live, and we're going to dive even deeper into those people and into all of that information on another live once we get through all of the clips. We also learned that Adrienne Lucienne talked to his friend during a FaceTime about people out there trying to kill him. He said that the Pope twins tried to kill him. He said that Alexi tried to kill him. Not only are all of these people connected to the drug trafficking and human trafficking, they're also all connected to Twin Falls, Idaho. The Pope twins come from Twin Falls, Idaho. And their mother has ties to human trafficking. This is a lot of information we're going to be going over. Summer's Army, thank you so much for coming in. give a like. Please give me a thumbs up. Click the notification bell. I do spur of the moment lives all the time. Make sure to hit that notification bell, subscribe, become a member, any of those things. Watch from the bushes. I don't mind. I just want you guys here paying attention, listening, learning, and most of all, share. Share Michael's beautiful face, share his beautiful smile, whether it is a flyer, whether it's a live, any information about Stacey Wandra being arrested for Michael's abduction and murder is huge to share out, showing people things are actually moving, things are happening. But it's so very important to just keep sharing. What else did we learn? Oh, we also learned that somebody in Los Angeles wants to hurt Adrienne also because Adrienne slept with their nephew. Adrienne Lucien's now telling his friend that he's gay. We've always known Adrienne to be a ladies' man, so hearing that information is kind of shocking because we've never heard that before. Some people are confused, maybe because of the assaults that have happened in Adrienne's life. He has been confused about his sexuality. We don't know. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody because they're gay. My son is gay. So that doesn't matter. We're just wondering why all of a sudden. What's going on with Adrienne? And I 100% believe Jay when he says that these are the things that Adrienne told him. I've been talking with Jay for over a year now. He's a wonderful man. He has a girlfriend. He's smart. He has a great job. He didn't want to go down the road that Adrienne went down. He wanted to be a better person than that. He wanted to be a better man. And that's who he is today. He stopped and cut off ties with Adrienne not long ago, and then heard from Adrienne back in 2022. So Jay has done everything with lots of compassion to help law enforcement figure out what Adrienne Lucienne knows about Michael Vaughan's abduction, tried to get him to come forward and talk to law enforcement, told him, like, buddy, I will go with you if you need to go to law enforcement. But please, if you know anything, I did another live where I showed all of the messages between Jay and between Adrienne, and Adrienne says things like, sacrifice gone wrong. Sacrifice gone wrong. Sacrifice. Michael's death. Was that the sacrifice? He talks about y'all trafficking kids. He's mentioned that before in other people's chats, like in Justin For All, who is now Clutch Them Pearls in his chat. He throws people under the bus for kidnapping Michael that are not Stacey, Brandon, Sarah, Brandon, and Stacey, sorry, which is strange because these are the four people that we know, right? But now we know Michael was to be sold. Who was he to be sold to? We don't know. We're not privileged to that information, but he's talking about this information with Jay in those text messages. He even said the price went up. Is that the reason why Michael is no longer with us? Is because one of these idiots that wanted to make more money, because we already know they're always out for money. They're always out to scam and everything else, decided, hey, let's try to charge him more. And then the people that were supposed to buy Michael or whatever is like, hey, I'm not even messing around with you guys if you guys want the price to go up. Or I'm speculating there, but what does the price went up mean, Adrienne? Talk to law enforcement. Tell them what it is that you're talking about. Why are people trying to harm you? Why are the Pope twins coming after you? Why is Alexi coming after you? Why do you ask Alexi questions like, did you guys put Michael somewhere else? Did you guys dig him up and move him? Yeah, I have that message, Adrian. I'll be sharing more information. Jay is not the only information that I have. Talk to law enforcement. More information is coming. And I have warned Adrian several times that information will keep coming out on him that I have until he goes and talks to law enforcement. So Adrian, if you want to put a stop to all this information coming out, I suggest you get your ass inside the Fruitland Police Department and start talking. Get on the phone, get a lawyer, do what it is that you got to do. Tip line phone number, Adrian, 208-642-6006, or email Fruitland, find Michael at fruitland.org. Sorry. It's just so very important for these suspects to stop hanging on to whatever it is that they're hanging on. Get it off your chest. Start talking about it. So again, we learned so much about Adrienne Lucienne, and as we keep moving forward through these clips, we'll learn some more. If you guys, see something, let me know. I will keep an eye out and chat. I just want to thank you guys all again for being here and being so supportive. Shelly, exactly. Adrian, Brandon, you guys have kids. Would you guys ever want anything like this to happen to your own kids? Well, I say that, and then I have to say, Brandon, you're a deadbeat dad. You're not even in your daughter's life. Adrienne Lucienne has 5 or 6 kids running around the whole United States, and he doesn't see them, pay child support, or anything. So we're talking about 2 deadbeat dads that don't give 2 shits about their own children. Yeah, get your ass in there. I'm over it. It's just ticking me off, right? Yeah, they're both deadbeats. Summer's Army, my heart hurts for Brandy and Tyler and family. Mine too, and thank you so much for that super chat. My heart really hurts. Every single day I think about them. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's do a little dance. Chuck's granddaughter sent out a Pacific Northwest Whisperer membership. If you got that membership, please give her a thanks and welcome to Missing PNW Whisperer. I really do appreciate that so very much from both of you. That means a lot. I mean, the gig is up. Just tell him where he is so he can be laid to rest properly. Yes. That's what we all want. There was no sound to any of those? I hope I'm not having sound problems. We don't need that before clips. Let me just take a quick look through chat. Will you guys let me know if you guys... Okay, Halo Artist saying she heard them. Sound's on for me. No sound is okay. There is sound. I can hear. Okay, most everybody says that they can hear. Thank you guys so much for letting me know. We do not need those problems. It has been... This week has been rough for me. I started a new job. I've been very, very busy. It's been crazy. Again, thank you so much, Chuck's granddaughter. I really appreciate that. Please thank her for your membership. Yeah, working, researching, coming home, doing a live, going back to work. But tonight, I actually get to take a little bit of a break. I get together with my girlfriends and we have a game night, and that is tonight. So I'm really looking forward to just getting out of the house, enjoying some friends, especially before the holidays, seeing them, playing some games, maybe even having a couple drinks. Who knows? I might let loose. You never know. Where the wind blows, it's good to see you. Yeah, my plate's been full, tell you what. And you know, as bad as it sounds, I'm loving it as far as I love the fact that Stacey Wandra's been arrested. I will sit here and talk about that all damn day. Love it, love it, love it. Julia XOXO, thank you for being here. I have rewound this 4 times. This is Unreal Live. Not heard this before. You know, Jay actually reached out to JLR and in an email and never got back to Jay. He's reached out to several different creators. Nobody ever got back to him. And then he contacted me after hearing some information that I had put out about Adrian. And yeah, we've been talking ever since. So we have a great relationship. He's a great guy. But I know you guys are here to listen to these clips. So why don't we get at it? I hope that the update was good enough for you guys to just let you know where we are. We're going to start clip number 5 and we're going to clip number 9. So we got 4 clips to go over tonight. And these clips are around 10 minutes long. I do want to say there are things redacted like Jay's name and other specifics that I thought were not inappropriate for me to share. So the clips have been edited, but they have not been edited in a way where, you know, it's not true. I haven't, you know, taken any words and put them anywhere else, trying to scramble them together to make Jay say something. That's not what I do. Never will do that. People always want to know about Adrian, and I think this is the best way to get to know Adrian. All of the information that Jay has shared has definitely helped me get to know Adrian. I hope it does the same for everybody else. And trigger warning for sensitive information and language. And again, I just want to thank Jay for showing so much compassion. When we spoke, for showing so much compassion for Michael and wanting justice for Michael, doing the right thing, coming out and talking when he knew he needed to, and for even trying to help law enforcement, you know, get information from Adrian. It was successful a little bit, but not as much as law enforcement, myself, or the Vaughan family would have loved to have seen, but I'm very thankful for him and everything he's tried to do. He's been a great source. Again, Jay is not his real name. It's just his first initial. So just letting you guys know. Thank you so much for that super chat. Thank you, Samantha. The Vaughns need you. Well, and I need them. They are a wonderful family, and they've welcomed me into their family. They call me family, and I love them so much. Thank you so much for that super chat. I would not want to be anywhere else than where I'm at right now tonight. Thank you. That's very much appreciated. All right, let's start number 5.
And the tip that law enforcement got was from Stacey. So they get there, and Sarah Wandra starts throwing people under the bus immediately, saying that the Almighty God had told her that Stacey Wandra buried him in the backyard, in the neighbor's yard. And then she changes her story and says in our backyard. And then she throws out there to law enforcement that day that Adrian was the one who killed Michael and Stacey buried him in the yard.
And I'm explaining to him that original affidavit that came out when they served that warrant on the Wandra's house and went there after Stacey's tip, where Sarah Wandra says that the Almighty God told her that Stacey Wandra did it. and that he buried Michael in the neighbor's yard. Oh, God just told me that Stacy did it and buried him in our backyard. And then at the very bottom of that affidavit, Stacy buried him and Adrian did it. What'd you do, Adrian?
And this is the paperwork that law enforcement has. This is what Sarah is saying when they come to excavate that backyard. She gets arrested. She gets arrested right then for not reporting the death of Michael.
And that's also when multiple cadaver dogs hit in that backyard where Stacy Wandra says that Michael was buried.
Oh, gotcha. Because I was wondering why did they arrest her? But, okay. So she threw Adrian under the bus immediately.
Yeah. So the connection between Brandon and Adrian is unknown, other than the fact that the Wandras, they live there in Fruitland, and Adrian ends up there at the house right around the same time that Adrian and Brandon were both in the same area, and then all of a sudden Adrian ends up back at the Wandras' house.
So Brandon and Adrian end up in another area, in another city, actually. And then shortly after that, Adrian ends up back at the Wandras' house. I thought at this time when I was talking to Jay, like I said, over a year ago, that because we didn't know when Adrian got there. Now we're learning he may have gotten there in the spring of 2021, a few months prior to Michael's abduction. Information that I had put Adrian in another city, in the same city where Brandon was hanging out, and I was making connections thinking maybe Brandon and Adrian had met each other and Brandon brought Adrian back to the house.
What did Adrian tell you about, that day that Michael disappeared? Did he say what he did after he left Applebee's?
Well, that's really all I can remember him saying was, he went to Applebee's that day to meet his son and his baby moms, and he didn't get into details. He just said from there I think he went back to the house, and I think that's when he said that the kid was missing. And then, but he see, my thing is he kind of jumped in the stories. Again, this goes back to him being very incoherent. Nothing was just a clear cut sentence. Everything was just.
Jay, when he talks to Adrian, says that Adrian talks a lot of nonsense. And we do know that Adrian Lucienne was taking medications back in the day. Don't know if he's currently taking them. We know that family members have said that he has schizophrenia. I know from somebody that talked to Adrian when he came in to apply for a job that he came in looking good. He didn't even look like he was homeless. Adrian had even said he was going to school, and he was talking just fine. So is Adrian just fine? Or does Adrian just talk nonsense when someone's trying to talk to him about Michael Vaughan? I believe Adrian's fine. He talks nonsense to throw everybody else off, and I believe he told his family members that he suffers from paranoid schizophrenia. I'm not convinced that Adrian, this man with multiple hundreds of profiles, that catfishes men for money using women's profiles, or scamming people, traveling the country, drifting. To me, it doesn't make sense. None of that makes sense to me. I am not convinced that Adrian Lucienne is paranoid schizophrenic, but I do believe when he's doing drugs, just like anybody would, you get paranoid when you're doing math. You get so paranoid. So maybe that's what Adrian, when he's doing those things, he gets all weirded out or something. I don't know. On-ons, and so I had to decipher a lot of shit he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point we jump back to, they come looking at the house, and he's like, man, I don't know what the hell is going on, man. He said, I'm just at the house, and they come and they're looking for a body of this kid, and that's how he's saying it to me. So I'm like, damn. But again, he made it seem to me early on that all this stuff happened as far as the disappearance of the kid before he moved into that house. And that's where my interest was. Because I did my research. I'm like, no, you were there when the kid, you were living in the neighborhood when the kid went missing.
He was living there, I want to say, for a few months or so, yeah.
Yes. So at that point, I'm like, he wasn't telling me the whole truth. And so at that point, and then I heard somebody, one of those, somebody did a video, and they were saying that they went to the lake. Was it after they dig up the body or before?
I'm actually one of the people that made the video of the lake thing, and the way that goes is that just a couple of days after Michael Vaughan comes up missing, they're all four at that lake.
Wow. Yeah, and why are they going to that lake all these? See, my thing is Adrian didn't make it seem like, look, I'm just renting a room for these people. Like, they're not my friends. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just renting a room for these guys. So I just live here. He said they were kind of rude to him at times. I remember he did say that. But yeah, he made it much so like, I'm just renting a room for these people. I don't really hang with them. They're not really, like, friends or anything of that nature. So, but when I heard that part about the...
Yeah, why would Adrian say they weren't friends and they didn't hang out when we know they did hang out? Adrian and Brandon would hang out. All four of them traveled together to go to Portland sometime after Michael's disappearance. I mean, that's when the Pope twins tried to hurt Adrian. So why would all four suspects after Michael Vaughan's disappearance be traveling to Portland together?
Lake, again, my antennas went up again. I'm like, there's got to be more to this than what he's telling me altogether. Add that to him acting all very weird and paranoid, on top of doing all the heavy drugs. Because my thing is, why are you doing all these heavy... One thing, you do some weed, okay, you drink a little bit, okay. When you start talking about crack and meth, I'm like, okay, what's going on with this guy? Why is he... Because, my thing is, why are you using these things? You know what I mean? Like, why are you... Well, what demons are you fighting that would make you start using heavy drugs like this? Especially knowing the background of his father. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And you kind of put that together for me too. But I mean, when you look at it, I mean, people go either way. If you're raised by somebody that does drugs, you either get into drugs or you don't get into drugs. You know what?
Yeah, and if you have something triggering, it might make it easier for you to go that route. Because I'm pretty sure his dad, I don't know as much. See, Adrian grew up a very strict Buddhist household as well.
Wow.
Like, I remember I used to have to go, when I would spend the night on the weekends, I would have to go to these chants. And his mother had, because I was, at one point I was like, I like to meditate and stuff. His mom was helping me with a lot of meditation. She helped me to go to a meditation center in LA. So he was strict. Adrian had a real strict upbringing. And then seeing him spiral and do all this weird stuff. And when I started thinking about how he was acting, and I'm like, why was he acting this way these last few years? And that makes sense. It makes sense that he's fighting something. He's living in shelters and stuff in Toledo.
But it's not new for Adrian to be into shelters or traveling the country. He's been doing this before Michael Vaughan's abduction. Jay has talked about him, and he will continue to talk about how he travels all over. Good to see you, Ink. Good to see you, Yaya. Thank you both for coming in. Haven't seen you in a minute, Ink. It's nice to have you here.
I remember somebody said they'd seen him. Like, I've seen Adrian, man. He looked terrible. You got to think about 10 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, he was somebody people admired where we're from. He was going to school.
Right.
He was playing basketball, To see where he's at now is like people's jaws dropped. Like, what the hell happened? I mean, his dad.
To hear that Adrian Lucienne was admired 10, 12 years ago, people that knew him admired him. He was somebody. He was somebody. He was a great basketball player. He wasn't covered in all of these tattoos back then. Not that I have anything against tattoos, but I mean, he's got Satan on his neck and 666 across his chest. I mean, he does some really crazy stuff online, uses some really sadistic stuff, pictures that he posts about, demonic stuff. I mean, that kind of stuff is super, super crazy. New member in the house, nicely done. Love to have you here. Thank you so much for becoming a Pacific Northwest Whisperer. So happy you decided to join us. Thank you so much, hon. Yeah, evil, pure evil to me. Yes, I believe so. He is. He's very disturbed. And you guys will be shocked to hear some stuff that Jay talks about this in some of the conversation. Let's keep listening. Admired, though. Admired by people at the college, his friends, people that knew him admired him. And look where he's at now. Look where you're at now, Adrian. You could have been a pro basketball player, and now you're caught up in a 5-year-old's kidnapping and murder. Michael Joseph Vaughan deserved better than that.
Told me, he yeah, he was on his bus with no ID, and he was looking for cigarette butts and stuff. That it's a complete 180 of who this guy is. So one thing that I can't ignore is if you involved in some kind of murder kid, that could drive you to that type of stuff. Especially when you're fighting it, you're on the run, like you said, the paranoia. It can ramp up a lot. So he's probably dealing. I definitely think he wasn't lying. He's dealing with something with the homosexuality thing. He's probably dealing with, and it just seems like it was a lot. So it's man, yeah.
Jay is so confused when he talks about Adrian and the homosexuality thing. He's just absolutely blown away, not only by the fact that Adrian's saying that he's gay, but thrown just for a loop that his friend is involved in any of this. Because the Adrian that he knows wouldn't have anything to do with harming a child. He's told me that so many times, and that he's just so conflicted. All he wants to know is what Adrian's involvement is so that he knows who the hell he grew up with. He wants those answers because he's having a very, very difficult time.
Okay, I was whatever, but the more I'm I don't necessarily think he was he the one who physically did it, but I do think he has information. I do think he knows something. Yeah, it just doesn't. Everything else doesn't make sense. Because if it wasn't, I would have. If it was me, I would have easily came out and say, "Hey, whatever information y'all need from me, I'll volunteer to get any information. Just let me know." By him bringing up those twins and that Alex guy and Nate Miles ain't been to Idaho since he left the school. Okay.
I just know that his name was brought up. I don't know why his name was brought up. I believe it had something to do with drug running.
Because Nate Miles is a drug addict. This guy, Nate Miles, is a heroin addict now. If he's getting drugs, he's using it. He's not making money off nothing. So the fact that Adrian's bringing him up and all these lets me believe that he's throwing curveballs. And that and you only throw curveballs.
This is the way that Jay deflects away from Adrian having any involvement. Unfortunately, he says Adrian's just throwing curveballs talking about Nate Miles. Nate Miles is a heroin addict. He's a heroin addict that also is into selling and dealing and trafficking drugs.
If you're trying to hide something, you see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and I mean, here, my whole thing with him throwing curveballs is this: there's 4 suspects in this case. If he wants to throw curveballs and throw people under the bus, why isn't he throwing Brandon, Sarah, and Stacy under the bus? Instead, he's choosing to throw these other people under the bus, so it makes you wonder who else is involved with Michael's disappearance and why. When all of these people have connections to sex trafficking and drug trafficking, it really just makes you wonder why Michael was abducted that day.
Got you. I see what you're saying. And if it wasn't so, if you didn't mention the part about the remains being found, I was like, yeah, if it was some human trafficking going on, I mean, they could have easily kidnapped him. He could easily be in another country somewhere. But the fact that you said that the cops pretty much say he's dead,
yeah,
I'm like, I don't. It's just the motive doesn't. But again, I don't know what Adrian was into at this particular time in his life either.
Well, I mean, if you're into researching, start researching all of his Instagrams, all of his old Instagrams, and then just go down that rabbit hole, and you will see that Adrian is connecting to sex trafficking. You'll see it. It's a rabbit hole, and there are so many profiles. He even uses women's fake profiles and women's pictures to make fake profiles to start conversation with other women. And I mean, yeah,
They had ample time to try the deal thing. I say no more. Tell Brandy and Tyler where their son is. Bring Michael or Monkey Michael Vaughan home. Y'all already done, so let them have Michael back. Couldn't agree more. Ink couldn't. And as we're listening to this, you guys, I'm realizing we have already listened to this clip, but that's okay. We can recap that. And we're going to just move right into number 6 here.
Resident there was the Renee lady. She was like, she lived there, she was helping them out with stuff. And she'll buy them plane tickets and all type of stuff. But also Nate, the guy Nate, he has a very, very interesting story. And I'm a filmmaker, so I wrote the script on his life, of his college scandal and everything. And when I'm talking to him, he brought up Renee. He's like, yeah. Nate told me that he had sex with her. So, and I figured Adrian was doing the same because, yeah, I know Adrian. If she wanted to have sex with Nate, she was the one that had sex with Adrian, put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm pretty sure he would have did it for, that time he's 19.
I've heard quite a bit about Renee and the fact that she was doing that with a lot of the college boys.
Yep. Yeah, probably. I mean, CSI has been a powerhouse for years, so I can see her.
This is Adrian Lucien's best friend since 2nd grade. He reached out to me a little over a year ago, and we've been talking ever since. And he, has said that I could share things as long as his name wasn't mentioned. So we just call him Jay. And he's a really good man. He has shown so much compassion for Michael Vaughan and, and the Vaughan family.
I could see her probably been doing that for the last 20 years. Because you get to this place and you don't know anybody, and this lady's offering to, buy you.
Under Your Scars, thank you so much for Super Chat. Grab a glass of wine on your night out. You do an amazing job here, Samantha. Thank you. I do like some wine. Other wine gives me a headache, but let's do a little bit dance for that Super Chat. I'm thinking more like maybe a Bloody Mary. I really want a Bloody Mary right now. Thank you so much for the Super Chat. Glad to have you. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, let's get back.
Things and shelter you for the most part, And she probably at some point seduced them. And I've never seen what she physically looked like, so I don't know about that. But yeah, that was the name. Once you said that, I'm like, okay, you've been doing some good research because that is his connection to Twin Falls. Now the twins, that's again, just from what I'm hearing, it sounds like this is what it sounds like. It sounds like maybe he did know the guys. Maybe he was involved with some kind of drugs with them at some point. Like maybe they were selling. He was supposed to sell for them. Maybe he owed them money, and maybe I think he might have mentioned their name. On the flip side, like the rest of those guys, he might owe them money because he was telling me the guys he got busted with that meth in Bowling Green. I remember vaguely mentioning to me that the guy when he incoherently said that some Mexican guy in L.A. wanted to harm him because he was sleeping with his nephew. I think that same guy is the one who fronted him drugs to go to Ohio with. So. Because when he's trying to kill me, I'm like...
Okay. Just have to say, please be careful what you say in chat. Brandy Vaughan watches chat, watches these lives, and she doesn't need some of that stuff that's being talked about. And if I see it again in chat, I'm going to have to put you in timeout. We are not going to be talking about acts and stuff that could have happened. No, absolutely not. Please, just don't.
Well, I kept telling him, like, bro, no one's trying to harm you. I remember I yelled at him, like, no one's trying to, stop saying that. Like, what is wrong with you, man? You sound like you're nuts. Like, and then he would change the subject real quick. But then 10 minutes later, he would go back to saying that. It definitely was a hint. It was like a lot of paranoia there. Or again, on top of that, some kind of bipolar, schizophrenia, going in and out of the conversation. It was almost like he wasn't even talking to me. Like he didn't even know who I was because he kept saying, "Yeah, you and my sister plotting on me." I'm like, bro, I haven't talked to Runa since probably 2010. I'm like, man,
No worries, mods. I saw it immediately, and I got it. Not a worry. I watched chat for that reason too. So. I don't want you guys feeling bad for not catching something. I saw it immediately. So you guys are good. But yeah, I mean, here Jay is again talking about Adrienne acting all kinds of crazy, paranoid, schizophrenic, or whatever. I don't think I'm buying it. I really don't, Adrienne. I think you're just fine, and I just don't think you want to talk about Michael. And I think when someone wants to talk to you about Michael, you start acting a little bit crazy because there's too many damn people out there that talk to you on a regular that don't talk to you about Michael, and you seem to be just friggin' fine.
Like getting soft for him, like, yo, is this my friend? Like, what is really going on? Is he joking? It was almost like when you're like, I have a great grandmother who had Alzheimer's, and when she started going, it was like real hard for me because she didn't even know who I was. I remember she hit on me at one point. She thought I was like some young boy from back in her day. And I was like, shit, like what? I was like, what the hell is going on? I was young, I didn't understand. My mom had to explain to me, like, yo, she has this disease where she thinks she's a certain age. But that's what I felt when I was talking to him. Like, who is this? Is he, like, hello, do you know who I am? It's me, Jordan. Like, why are you saying all this weird stuff to me? So, but again, what you said makes a lot of sense that if he was involved, he's getting real high and in paranoia. That's all.
Yeah, I'm hearing from several sources right now that he's kind of like out of his mind, and unfortunately, that's where drugs kind of lead you when you're on them for too long. Especially if you're messing with the fentanyl. I'm sure you've seen the zombies.
Yeah.
I
mean, he sounds like he was a zombie. When his dad told me that he was wandering around and he was like on a bus and he was at the Cherry Street Mission. The Cherry Street Mission is like the most popular shelter in Toledo. It's like the most known one downtown. He was like staying there. He told me.
When did you talk to his dad?
Oh, let me see. I can tell you exactly when I talked to him. Hold on. Okay. So I reach out to his dad every now and then. That was one thing I used to always do. I used to reach out to him just to see because I could get information from him about. So now I'm on this. I'm on my Facebook message right now. So December 7th, 2018. I'm sorry, Mr. Carr. Adrienne wants to talk to you. Did you get in contact with Adrian? He's supposed to be in the meeting. So this is 2018. He had some, I think this is when the meth charges. He was locked up. His dad ended up getting him out.
Are you talking about the 50 grams that he got busted with?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was exonerated of all charges. Okay, so this is January. Man, this is my birthday, 2019. His dad messaged me, said Adrian was exonerated of all charges. And then, February 14th, 2023, I messaged him, "What's up, Frank?" And you know what? No, this is not 2022. I apologize. This was 2023, February 14th.
Sorry about that connection. There were a few times when I would talk to him, he'd move around in his house, and then it would start glitching out like that. It doesn't stay like that for a long time. But again, at the time, like I said, over a year ago, when I first started talking to him, I had several people, several sources that would message with Adrian, talk with him, and they were all saying the same thing Jay's saying. When I talk to him, he acts like he's crazy. But the difference between all of these sources and other people that I know that have talked to him, the sources were talking to him about Michael. But the other people that I had spoken with, like the person who did the job interview, he's perfectly fine. Did a great job during the interview. The only problem is she knew who Adrienne Lucienne was trying to find people to talk to about him, to let them know where he was, and found me on Facebook. And through that source, found more sources that also said Adrian was just fine.
And I spoke to him. So this is 2 years after everything happened with the Michael Vaughan. So I hit him up and said, "What's up, Frank?" He said, "Thank you. I hope all is well. I'm good. I don't know about," he already know about the mission son. So he says, "I don't know about AD. He needs mental help. ... Now I said, "I know if you're talking to him on Instagram, what the F is going on with him? He's talking crazy. What's up?" And I'm like, "What's up with him? He's at the Cherry Mission." And I said, I had a job for him. One of my closest friends was like the main supervisor of one of the main car plants in Toledo. He was about to get Adrian a job. And Adrian told me, I was like, "Bro, I get you a job right now. I'll call him." And then he call him. I called the guy. He's like, "Yeah, something come in, a hybrid spot." Adrian was like, "Man, I'm not in a good mind space to be." That's what he told me. He said, "I'm not in a good head space to work a job right now." And I remember I went off on him. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
See, Adrian doesn't want to work. Adrian does not want to work. That's why when Stacey Wandra talks about Adrian giving him money, one time he said it was like unemployment, and another time it was some other kind of, workman's comp. I didn't believe either of those. Stacey says both when he talked to Brandy here on my panel. Adrian hasn't really had any jobs to collect unemployment or workman's comp. So he doesn't want to work. Here's his best friend offering him a job to get him off of the streets so he doesn't have to drift and wander and whatever. Adrian likes his life. As sad as it is, he likes to drift. He likes to move around. But I think that there are reasons why. And I think it's the partying, the drugs, the women, and all that kind of stuff that he likes. And all of these scams make him the money that he needs to travel and do the stuff. And, like Miss Renee was buying him plane tickets. His dad says that he travels around on a bus all the time, and the bus is cheap. I made it from Washington State down to Texas for less than like $300. I mean, that was way back in like 2009, but it is a lot cheaper to travel on the bus.
Talking about, man, I just pulled all these strings, and I got very upset with him. So then his dad says he is crazy as fuck. Excuse my language. I saw him on the Tartar bus station last week. He lost his ID and wallet again. My friend who he was staying with since he been here texted that some guy named Chris from some organization called her, asking about who he knows Who is he helping? So I'm guessing that's when somebody started reaching out, looking for him for information about Michael Vaughan. So he said, I can't do anything for him. He is selfish.
Makes me wonder how much Stacy is fuming right now that Brandon got out. Yeah, and I'm sure Stacy will find out that he's out, because there is a creator that's still talking to Stacy and trying to convince him of crazy things. And yeah, she's even going to show up in court. Stacy said she's coming to Fruitland to go to the court hearing, according to Stacy. That's how far this creator has gone, inserting herself in Michael Vaughan's case. Let me convince you and Sarah that you guys are going to go free, and then so I can get lots of attention and put it up on my YouTube channel, I'm going to go down and I'm going to go see your court date. I'm going to see your court hearing. It's just ridiculous. And I believe that too, Yaya. I think that they will get Brandon too. Eventually, it's all going to come down. I'm not throwing out names who that creator is. I refuse to say her name. I refuse to.
Destructive and want to take everyone with him. I pray he is okay. I'm like, so this had to be after I talked to Adrian. I must immediately reach out to his dad. Like, yeah, what is really going on? And then later that night, or later that day, I messaged him again. I said, Frank, what do you think happened to him? I said, Runa doesn't deal with him either. And then he never responded. So May 21st, a couple months later, I said, how's it going, Frank? Hope all is well. Seeing if you have any update on Adrian.
Frank is Adrian Lucien's dad. We're talking about Frank Lucien is who Jay is talking about.
He said, I'm good. Thanks for asking. I hope all's well. No one heard from him in about a month or so. Runa said he was in her DM shooting shit. Everyone is asking me about him. I really don't know, but I pray he is well. The last time I saw him, it was in February. He was absolutely weird. I think he lost his mind. I feel really bad for him. I pray and chant a lot about him. He literally disappeared. So after that, I said, damn, yeah, I'll definitely keep.
I've been thinking the same thing, Shannon. I am hoping that he doesn't run and leave the country or something.
My prayers well. The last time I spoke to him, it was like he was a totally different person. It bothered me for a while. If you have any update, let me know. Glad you're doing it well, and I'm assuming Runa's doing well as well. He said, yes, Runa moved to Vegas. I communicate with her often. Take care and be happy. Okay?
Yes, Inc. He did. Brandon was still sketchy as hell with giving up any information on the fact. I believe he said, I'll have to get back to you on that. Really seems like he was hiding more than he knew of. Yes. And he said that, I'll have to get back to you on that. Oh, I'll have to think about that. I'm not sure. Every single time it was an important question. So you could pretty much just, with the question, you know, we all wanted him to bust himself and him say yes, but you can pretty much just, excuse me, you can pretty much just know that the answer to that question was yes. If he was deflecting from it, and if he was saying he was going to get back on, you know, to me about it, or I had to think about that, I'm not sure. I'll have to look through my receipts. I mean, that's one of the ones. He could barely even remember things. He'd say things like, oh, that was a few years ago. You know, I just have to think about that. But then something else, oh, I'll just dig out my receipts and look. I know I've got them somewhere or something. It's just ridiculous. But you pretty much know the only reason that he's saying that is because it was the truth. Any of those questions that was asked that he deflected from was true. He just didn't want to say it.
December 18th, 2023. I messaged him again. How's it going, Frank? Any word from Adrian? He said, not recently. Every now and then by chat, not too frequently, though. He makes me worry sometimes, but he got to live his own life, you know. And then he says, what's up with you? I can't believe I miss you all as well sometimes. Thank you, and I hope, all is well. Happy holidays. And I said, I'm glad that he's somewhat keeping in touch. Everything is well on my end. He said, all right, take care. And then August 21st this year, I hit him up. I said, how's it going, Frank? Hope all is well. Wonder if you have any update on Adrian. He said, no update on Adrian. I don't know where he is at. I guess he is doing well. Thanks for asking. But one thing I noticed, too, so you guys reached out to Frank at some point, correct?
Do what?
You guys reached out to Frank at some point, correct?
No, we didn't. We have.
When I say we, it's just the people that I research with and stuff. And I hadn't reached out to Frank, and neither did any of the people that I have been working with. But later found out there had been people that had reached out to Frank to talk to him about his son.
Been trying to figure out who his parents were, and then we did find out who his mom was and that she had passed away. And then we didn't really know anything about Frank until just here recently and started looking in. But no, we hadn't reached out or anything.
Well, I don't think it was you. I think it was this other guy who was doing he does like a true crimes page or something like that. I think he messaged Frank, and then Frank was like, I don't know anything. So
he's talking about JLR right here, because JLR did talk to Frank. I found out later on. There's actually, I think he goes over emails or messages or something with him. Maybe it was off Messenger or something, but JLR talked to Adrien's dad.
I noticed that that Frank got these other messages got very shorter as time went on. He was very, no update on Adrian. I don't know where he is at. It sounds like he was he's scared to talk about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the more people that tried to contact Frank to talk to him about Adrian, the shorter the conversations got between him and Jay. Even though Jay's known Frank since, he was really young. He's known Adrian since 2nd grade. And Frank doesn't want to talk to anybody about anything anymore.
Well, yeah, because if he's in hiding or running or anything like that, he probably doesn't know who he can talk to or who he can trust right now. Because honestly, you would be the perfect person to help Fruitland Police, in my opinion.
So this is what happened. I messaged that number that I always posted, called this number. I called. And then I tried to talk to the guy who answered the phone. I'm like, hey, I want who can I talk to about this case? Because I need more information before I can even talk. I don't know everything. I just know everything about Adrian. So the guy.
So Jay reached out to a tip line, wanting to get more information on Adrian, trying to contact Fruitland to get information to try to figure things out. And I'm like, but Jay, you're calling a tip line. They didn't get back to you, or they didn't tell you anything because they, for one, can't share that information with anybody. But 2, you're calling a tip line. You're supposed to be giving tips. You can't just call them to get information about your friend. That's not how things work, unfortunately.
About this case, because I need more information before I can even talk. I don't know everything. I just know everything about Adrian. So the guy who I talked to was like, this is just a hotline. You just call to get information. You can't really speak to anybody directly and all this.
Yeah, it's a tip line to leave tips in the Michael Vaughan case.
Oh, got you. Okay, got you.
Right. You would have.
If you think for a second this is going to go away, think again. Your nightmare is just starting, Brandy, Tyler, and the family's nightmare will never end because of you. Low life pieces of shit. So give Michael back. I love that ink. Brandon, Adrian, Sarah, and Stacy, it's never going to go away. Ever. We are Monkey's Army. We're never going anywhere. We will support the Vaughan family till the very end, until every single one of you are arrested, charged, and sitting in prison.
You would have to call Fruitland Police Department in Fruitland and ask to talk to any one of the detectives that are working the Michael Vaughan's case and tell them that you are Adrien's best friend that you've known him since second grade and you would like to talk to somebody. In my opinion, and I don't know if you would be willing. It sounds like you've already tried reaching out to them to talk to them, to tell them things, but you are the perfect person that law enforcement, Fruitland, may be able to use as a tool to get information from Adrian, because it sounds like he loves you and respects you. And you don't have connection with him now, and you don't have those connections because his life changed, unfortunately, for the worst. And, the respect for him isn't really there anymore, but he might talk to you. He might tell you things that he wouldn't tell anybody else. So
I think so too.
And this is my very first conversation with Jay. And he did exactly what we talked about, reached out. He talked to people at Fruitland Police Department, tried to do the right thing, tried to collect information. I even had to have permission to even release these clips. But the heat is on, so.
The time when last time I spoke to him on the phone, it was so fresh, and what he told me, I kind of believed him. Well, my main thing was, I'm like, if he really had, the way I'm looking at it, like, man, if he really did something about this, he would be locked up right now. There'll be like a warrant for out for him and all this and stuff. And he's like, I got a lawyer. The lawyer talked to him. It's all good. So I kind of just took his word for it, But then years later, a year later, when I did my own research, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. This stuff just doesn't add up. This is a huge story in like the true crimes community. I'm like, what? There's no one. It hasn't been solved. So I'm like, wait. Then that's when I dived in and started to come up with my own, observations and everything.
The reason why nobody's been arrested in this case yet is because they're waiting to find Michael's body. They want Michael's body so they can start pointing fingers,
Yeah.
And they have searched so many places, and even after this conversation, it was months later that they went and searched the cemetery that Brandon's grandmother, at first it was his grandmother and grandfather's cemetery. His grandfather died. It was passed on to Tina Marill, Brandon's mom, and for whatever reason, whatever tip, whatever information law enforcement got, it led them up to that cemetery that Brandon's family owns. And we know that when Brandon's grandfather passed away, it was shortly after Michael Vaughan's disappearance. And he had an excavator up at that cemetery because it's an all-natural cemetery. They use like big rocks as tombstones. If you followed the case for a long time, I'm sure you've heard about this cemetery, the family cemetery. But for those of you that don't know, it's like an all natural. They don't use coffins. They don't embalm. They don't do any of that kind of stuff. And he used an excavator, Brandon did, to dig up his grandfather's grave. And a lot of people have wondered whether or not Michael was moved there where his grandfather was or somewhere up there at the cemetery during that time, since it happened shortly after Michael Vaughan's disappearance. Did they find Michael? I don't know. We're not privileged to that information. I don't believe they have. But I don't know what they did find, what led them up there, or any of that. But law enforcement has not stopped looking for Michael, for his body, and where he could be today. And I believe that Sarah and Brandon, like a lot of other people, know exactly where Michael Vaughan is today.
The way Adrian made it seem, he made it seem like he wouldn't be hanging out with these people, like not going to the lake and having fun together. He made it seem like it was just strictly roommates, So, like I'm saying that to me, kind of made me think like, okay, well, if he lied about that, what's he be lying about, And or what could he been withholding? I guess you could say, because he was giving me just little bits and pieces. I pieced everything else together through me, my cousin, and my girlfriend. We all my cousin, he knows him very well as well. So he did his own research, like, yo, look at this. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know about this little detail here. And once I started piecing everything together, I just was like, again, I don't necessarily think that he did, like, he physically, harmed the kid and unalived him. But something about it, like, he has to know something, man. He was in the house. The guy, even if the guy did bury it, you didn't see him burying it, burying something in the back. Like, you have to know something.
I mean, according to the probable cause affidavit and according to Stacy, Adrienne helped by holding the duffel bag open so Sarah could put Michael in it. Adrienne was there at the house when Brandon, Sarah, and Stacy left the house. Law enforcement said in the probable cause affidavit that he was there. They know he was there because he took a selfie of himself after they left to go to Cuna to go get that tow. So all of this has happened to Michael. He's been abducted. He's been put into a duffel bag. And now Lucienne is taking a selfie of himself after taking a shower. Explain that, Adrienne. You just watch horrific stuff happen to a 5-year-old little boy, Michael Joseph Vaughan, and you want to take a selfie of yourself? The selfie that gave phone data that put you in that house? Why would you do that? You really care about yourself so much? You really think you're that good looking? This is the kind of stuff that you're thinking about after Michael Vaughan is abducted? You're thinking about taking a selfie. And why did you take a shower, Adrienne? Were you worried that you had evidence on you? Did you feel dirty because of what happened? Well, you couldn't have felt too damn dirty if you're standing in front of a mirror taking a selfie of yourself. It's disgusting. And this happened at 7:26 p.m. Stacy, Brandon, and Sarah left and are seen leaving on CCTV camera at 7:08. And not 20 minutes later, you're taking a selfie of yourself. That's sick. You're sick, Adrienne.
My thing is, why wouldn't Adrienne at this point say, man, look, these dudes did it, or why is he just kind of not trying to clear his name up? That was kind of weird to me, because that'd be the first thing I'll be doing. I'll take a flight right back to Fruitland, and hey, let's talk about this. Let's clear my name up immediately.
That's right, Jay. That's what you do. If you have any kind of involvement, if your name is being thrown out there, if Fruitland police are saying you're a suspect and you're not, and you ain't got anything to do with it, Adrienne, get your ass down to Fruitland, talk to the police, and tell them what your involvement actually is. And if you're not doing that, you obviously have something to hide. You obviously have knowledge. You obviously are scared of the consequences, which are life in prison or the death penalty. And they're going to line you up against the wall because that's what they do in Idaho now. It's the firing squad. You cannot run and hide. There are consequences for every single one of you that are called suspects in this case. Brandon Shirtliff, you are not going to run away from this. Your mommy isn't going to save you from this. She can't pay your way out of a child abduction and a child's murder. She cannot afford the very best attorney for you to get you out of this. It's not just going to be a slap on the hand for either of you. For none of you.
Right. The fact that he's not doing that makes me believe that some kind of involvement. So, but how do you guys feel about the Brandon character?
From what I know of certain places and people that they know, that Adrienne and Brandon know the same people. So it's, was it all Brandon? Was it Brandon and Adrienne? Was it just Adrienne that drug in Brandon? Or was it just Brandon that drug in Adrienne? I don't know.
Do you, at this point...
And then after all of this, Brandy talks to Stacey Wandra on my panel, and we find out that Adrienne Lucienne shows up at their house in Idaho and starts talking about scamming women, prostitution. Brandy calls it ladies of the night. It's, the perfect way to describe it. We already have shown videos and messages where Adrienne is trying to get a woman into some prostitution, and when she denies him that, he still wants to know if he can use her profile picture. So they're already scamming. Stacey told Brandy that Sarah and Adrienne were talking about it. Was it Sarah and Adrienne with Brandon and Stacey in the room? They were all four sitting in there talking about it. The probable cause says that all four of them were going to get paid $10,000 according to Stacey Wandra. And remember, Stacey Wandra gives this tip and then writes a letter to the family and then tries to unalive himself. You don't admit something like this and try to unalive yourself unless there is lots of truth into what you're giving officers. This isn't a false tip. This is a credible tip that was followed up by law enforcement that led law enforcement to the Wandra's backyard where cadaver dogs hid.
You feel less that the couple that lived there, you're not feeling like they really have much to do with it at this point?
I think they all four had something to do with it. I just am not sure who I think killed Michael.
Got you. Or what about motive? Does anything come why would they do this? Because that's why I can't figure it out for the life of me.
Many different things has came out about that, some rumor, some not, that Sarah wanted a kid and so she abducted him and then they panicked, and wow. Sex trafficking, that they were going to, kidnap him and sell him and then it went wrong, or something.
That makes sense right there. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then, people have said stuff.
Jay, for whatever reason, says that makes sense. After a long conversation we have together, it's starting to finally click with Jay. There's a lot more going on here.
Stuff like, they took him and it was just on a whim, or to trade for drugs. It's just, there's a bunch of different little rumors that have gone around. I'm not sure. I'm not privy to information. Like you said, I do my research. So even though I'm being told things, I won't put it out there until I can prove it to be right, to be fact, to be, that's the kind of channel that I like to run. Other than that, I got brought into this. I was asked specifically to start the Michael Vaughan's case and to start putting things out to bring awareness for Michael's case, because his case, it wasn't getting enough attention. When I looked up Michael Vaughan, man's picture showed up. I had to look up Michael Monkey Vaughan for Michael to even show up, but now when you look up Michael Vaughan, he pops up.
Oh, it comes up immediately. Yeah.
So the awareness thing works, and it was me and a lot of other YouTubers that all decided, okay, this kid needs some awareness. A lot of those YouTubers even know Brandy Neal personally, Michael's mom. So, yeah.
Have you guys totally eliminated him out of it?
Yes.
Okay. You said a dog did hit a scent at her house of Michael?
Yes. At Brandon's mom's house. Brandon's mom was out of town when Michael came up missing.
Wow.
And they know for a fact that they went to Brandon's mom's house that night.
Wow.
So they leave Fruitland after the abduction, go to Brandon's mom's house, and then come back to Fruitland.
Holy crap. So something happened. Yeah, something happened at that. And what the kids kind of wandered off in the yard, just Remember, it was a dad like cooking or something like that. Then he kind of wandered out the house.
Well, the family was there in the house. Well, Mama was at work. Brother and sister, or I don't even think sister was there. It was Big Brother, Baby Sissy, Daddy, and Michael. They had been putting together like a construction track out in the backyard that day, then came inside and was playing video games. Dad goes upstairs to change baby's diaper.
For whatever reason, you guys, when I first took this case, I thought that Brandy and Tyler had upstairs, downstairs, and I think it was because another creator had said it, so I totally get that wrong. There's no stairs, just saying. I wasn't even talking to Brandy Vaughan at this time that I'm having this conversation with Jay.
Comes back downstairs to call Domino's Pizza. When he hangs up the phone, he can't find Michael. You know, Michael is seen wandering the street out front of the house, going door to door on doorbell cameras and everything else. He wandered off. And he was looking for somebody to play with, is what neighbors had said. And it just, that one chance that this little boy's wandering out at the same time that people are looking for a child. It's just mind-blowing. If he wouldn't have been out wandering around, it would have been some other kid.
That's what I find so friggin' mind-blowing. When there are people out there that want to try accusing Tyler of having anything to do with his son's missing, abduction, murder, any of that shit, because Michael Vaughan wanders around that neighborhood and is seen alone by neighbors. Seen alone. And it's gross. Knowing that this father has so much guilt for what happened on his watch to sit there and just keep throwing crap out there to say that he has some kind of involvement. Law enforcement put out in the probable cause affidavit that Brandy and Tyler had nothing to do with their son's disappearance, with his abduction. They didn't do anything. So there's that. And yes, Brandy is a force to be reckoned with. She absolutely is, Inc. So buckle up, Buttercup, because she's not going anywhere. She had that transplant. She is getting better. She is strong. She is fierce. She is ready to fight, and she is not going to stop. No one is going to ever stop the Vaughan family for fighting for justice for Monkey. Like I heard Chris Madonna, Tyler, and Grandpa say on Chris Madonna's video, what I want to see is put them in a room with Brandy Vaughan and see what happens. See what happens.
Adrian and the people that you say he was around, the friends, that makes sense. Because Adrian will, again, I told you when he went to Robinson Junior High in 7th grade, and that was the first time he was around any kind of, well, what can I say, hood kind of people, like some hood dudes. He gravitated to those guys. He always gravitated towards this it was almost like he grew up so privileged and good that he felt like he needed some street cred almost. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, you crave wanting, something else when you're raised a certain way sometimes.
It was like Adrian was just rebelling, against everything that his mom wanted for him, or rebelling. His dad actually can't stand the fact that Adrian has the Lucienne last name. He hates it. The Luciennes only, are known down in Ohio. It's like a family name here in the United States. So the fact that his son's name is Lucienne, the same as his, everybody knows Adrian is connected to their family, and Adrian is an embarrassment. His older brother that's a teacher in New York City doesn't talk to him. His sister doesn't talk to him. Frank talks to him every now and then, but rarely, because he just thinks his son's out of it, and he's a drifter. He's not proud of his son. He won't work. He won't do any of the things. And now his mom's gone, which really hurt Adrian, because he did love his mama. But did he love his mama enough to straighten his ass up when he went up to Washington, D.C. while she was sick? No. She's sick with cancer. He's there. He's troublemaking, coming in and out of the house or their complex where she lived, assisted living or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but coming and going at all hours of the night, stressing her out while she had cancer. And then he proclaims to love his mama so much. Adrian, you love your mama so much? Well, she's up in heaven. She's watching you right now. She's watching your life. And she's watching exactly what you're doing. And she's been watching you for such a long time. She was probably watching you when you were helping Sarah put Michael in that duffel bag. So there's that. Why don't you get your ass down to law enforcement and tell them what you know? What is your knowledge? What did you do? Who are these people that you wanted to help sell Michael to? You've got a lot of explaining to do, Adrian. It's time for you to get down there and start explaining yourself.
Yeah, and I can see, like, the more I think about it, because I always had since probably about 2016, I've looked at him as one of those guys where, damn, he thought he was going to make it to the, like, maybe not even NBA. Maybe you go Division I, you go play pro ball overseas, or maybe you just go Division I and you get a career after that. But none of that panned out for him, and he's definitely one of those guys where that haunts him. And one way I know that is because he doesn't really want anything to do with the game of basketball. Like, after all that, he wouldn't want to sit there and watch a game with you. He wouldn't go play basketball for recreation, just for fun, like just to go.
Oh, see, I wouldn't know that. All I can see in my head is that he probably just still loves to, like, play hoops. But if he doesn't even want to play hoops no more or watch basketball, he is definitely in his head like, oh shit, I could have been somebody and I'm not.
Yep, yeah, I always say that. Nate Miles is like that as well. And I was doing.
Adrian, you could have been somebody. The NBA wanted you, and you messed it all up for what? To party, for girls, for rugs. Like, messed it all up. You don't even like to play basketball anymore? This blew me away when Jay told me this. After watching videos of Adrian play basketball and him not missing one damn shot from across the court, not one shot did he miss. Adrian, you don't even like to play basketball anymore? Are you serious? Wow. It is so telling to hear that. He doesn't want to talk about it, and he doesn't want to play. Adrian, you seriously messed up your life.
Research on him for his story, I found that was a thing where he didn't really, like, he watched a lot of football, and if he started talking about the Packers, and I'm like, dude, you didn't watch the Lakers? He's like, man, and he told me straight up, he's like, man, I can't really watch, because the thing with Nate is, and Nate more so because he was a very high ranked player. Nate, he knows a lot of the players that are in the NBA.
We're talking first division, you guys. Do you know what it takes to get into first division? He had people coming in, watching his games to play basketball for the NBA. Pro. Millions of dollars. And you're out there like a slumlord or whatever, traveling, homeless, drifting. Oh, wow. 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org if you have any information about Michael Joseph Vaughan, who was abducted July 27th, 2021 in Fruitland, Idaho from his neighborhood. The 4 suspects are Stacy Wandra, Sarah Wandra, Brandon Shirtliff, and Adrienne Lucienne. And we're talking about Adrienne Lucienne today. And Stacy Wandra has been charged with first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence. These 4 suspects will all be charged. The DA said that his office is going to be moving forward with charges against the individuals in the disappearance and murder of 5-year-old Michael Vaughan. You cannot run, you cannot hide. Those are the facts. It's been said time and time again. Just because Brandon Shirtliff is out of jail does not mean these charges aren't coming.
Currently, he was ranked better than him. So seeing them get these massive contracts and, commercials, and it really eats him alive, And I think Adrian has some of that same. A lot of people do. I made this observation. A lot of people that I know that were basketball stars in a town like Toledo, you play basketball like that, because there's no pro teams and stuff. You could almost get treated like a god. Like you get privileges. You know what I mean? And people praise you. The local games are big. So, but Adrian a lot of people didn't really know of Adrian because how he was upbringing. And then once he got to high school, he was going to those prep schools. So people really weren't watching him play as far as like in game for like a school or anything like that. But he'll come back in the summer, we'll go to like certain pickup games, or we'll go to like the UT Rec Center and all that. Because he was committed to go to University of Toledo at one point. And that's when his grades came back and he had to go to the junior college route. But yeah, he was destined to go to Toledo at one point. And he definitely
destined to go, Jay says. He was an amazing basketball player.
It definitely took a toll on him mentally. That's when he started doing music. He talked about fashion. Like it was times Robert Randall would come around him. Say like 27 right before he fell out, I would pull up on him every now and then. He'd be like, I'm in LA, come here. I'm like, all right, I'll come check you out.
It definitely was karma that got Stacy Wandra, wasn't it? You think you can come up on panel, treat Brandy like crap, and think you ain't ever gonna, get in trouble for anything? He still thinks he's getting out of this, you guys. He's saying that he thinks he's gonna get out of prison or jail in February. He's even been trying to move his court hearing from December 16th to sometime in January because his lawyer claims that they don't have enough time. They need more time to work on this case. Yeah. Karma came and bit you in the ass, Stacy.
I pull up on him, and then he'll be with some friends. Some random like artsy kids, some guys he'll know, and we'll end up out there. We'll smoke a joint or whatever. We'll be talking, and I'll realize that these guys don't know this guy was real good at basketball.
Right.
But Adrian was like real good. They're like, what? I'm like, dude, Adrian was supposed to go to Division I. They're like, yeah, you never mentioned that. Adrian kind of downplays it. He's like, I was all right, man. I wasn't. But I'm like, Adrian was a dude was no drugs, no nothing, dedicated, waking up early, going to work out by himself if he has to, going to the gym, taking his vitamins. His mom was sending him all over.
He was working out, taking his vitamins. He was working out at the gym. He was getting himself. He was doing all of the things that he needed to do to be this great basketball player. All I can think of is what the hell happened? Adrian, what the hell happened? You had it all. You had it all. And I hope that it haunts you. I really do. I hope this shit haunts you for the rest of your life. Hearing your friend disappointed in you, knowing your mother's disappointed in you. Like, I hope it all haunts you.
That's how he got to the prep schools, because he was staying in Charlotte for like a half a school year with this one AAU coach. He was training them, and he was his mom made sure she like doing everything in her power to keep him on the straight and narrow. But well, this is one other thing too. Damn, it just reminded me this. But I remember at one point in time, my grandmother told me.
It was the one thing I've had done on my channel. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I had to mute to get sick at one point because I was so stressed out, and just being that close, not only listening to him talk that way to Brandy up on panel, just knowing I had Stacey Wandra up on my panel, I had to talk to him before Brandy came up. It made me sick, you guys. Like, it literally made me sick. I felt so bad for Brandy. But I had to keep him up there because Mama needed to talk to him. Brandy needed and wanted to talk to him. It was something she had been wanting to do for a long time. She did an amazing job, and she let him have it when she needed to. And then she got right back up on track and pinned his ass up against the wall because she's privileged. She has privileged knowledge about Michael's case. And Stacey would just want to argue with her and, of course, lie, but you can't lie to Brandy when she knows the truth about things. Just like that CCTV camera that he says he could be seen on 8th in Arizona. Why wasn't Michael seen there then? Well, CCTV isn't down there by 8th in Arizona. And to the people in the back that also want to keep spreading that rumor, get a life. And Adrien's about to talk about something that's kind of important here. He's saying that he had, or Jay is saying here something that's important about Adrienn that he had heard from, I believe he says, Adrien's grandmother, or no, his grandmother.
Too damn, it just reminded me this. But I remember at one point in time, my grandmother told me that my mother told her that his mother told her that he was going to see a shrink when we were younger as a kid. And I never knew why. I never got, my mom wouldn't even tell me. I was like, what happened? Like, why?
We know now that he was seeing a psychiatrist because of the S assault back in Catholic school.
Why was he wanting to choose, like, it's none of your business, don't mention it to him. She like, your grandmother shouldn't even told you that, and because he used to come over at one point Adrian started being, you made a good observation too. Another thing you said, you started talking about his devil tattoo on his neck, correct?
Yeah.
So Adrian definitely went through this emo, demonic type of, like, it was like a fashionable thing, if that makes sense. Not necessarily like he was worshiping the devil or anything like that, but more so like an emo, like dark, demonic, like, but more in a fashion sense.
Did I hear or see somewhere too that he has the number 666 on him?
666, yeah, he does stuff like that. 66.
Yeah.
It's more so like.
See, here you have him saying that the 666, the Satan on his neck, all of this stuff, it's all style. It's all to, get recognized in the music industry, in the clothing line and everything else. I don't know if I feel like it's true or not. I really don't. I mean, but it, to Jay, makes sense. And he does know Adrienn better than I do. So I'm not sure. I mean, does Adrienn really just want to look cool? Does he really just want to look like a badass so that nobody wants to mess with him or whatever when he's out on the streets? I don't know. But I think Adrienn's pretty evil. I mean, some of the stuff that he posts about there's just things that he does that's just really strange.
He thought that, how can I put this? So, like the Illuminati, I know you ever heard of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay. So they make it seem like you need to do these things to get accepted into the music industry, to all these different avenues. So that was him kind of playing on that, thinking that it was going to be a segue and help him get into that's his whole image. That's exactly what it is. All the tattoos and stuff, that was for an image. That was for him to thinking, man, I need to be a rapper, or I need to make music. I need to have a bunch of tattoos. I need to be on some demonic weird stuff and do the 666 and Lucifer and all this crazy stuff. And then he started making like some dark music, but he don't even make music. He's not. That was my problem with Adrian. He actually doesn't make music. He would like just go hang out in the studio or some shit like that. Or
I've heard some of his music. It wasn't that great.
No, he's not a musician at all. Nothing. That was something he picked up. Okay, I take that back. We were like in high school. We should joke around. We'll rap on the computer. There's nothing we're ever putting out or anything like that. It's totally for fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when basketball fizzled out and all of that, it was like a switch. Like, yeah, I'm about to be a rapper, and he had one song. He had one song, and I'm not going to say the name of it because it's explicit. But he had one song, I will say, it was like trending in like Africa and like South Africa at one point, like Mexico, because we could see like the demographics on like YouTube. This was like, man, 2010. I think he said it was in college. It was like him messing around. So I think when that happened, and he had when I say little traction, almost none. But we seen some demographics of the views, and people were messaging them. We were like, all right. I think at that point he felt like he could really do something, and his music is horrible. I mean, it's not even music. It's like it's laughable to me. You know,
right?
This is my boy. I'm like, dude. I used to always tell him the fashion thing. At one point in time, I did think he was onto something because he had some good mock-ups. So I'm like, this is pretty good. He had like an eye for these things. His goal was always to get to France. He's trying to get to France and Paris and all these other places to study fashion. But I don't know. To me, it just seems like he says it of how cool it sounds. Not necessarily like he's very interested in learning about fashion.
Right.
If that makes sense. You know? Like him moving to L.A., that was more of an aesthetic thing. Because he never really lived there. He was like homeless and like wandering and staying at random people's houses and going back to Ohio. And it was one of those.
See, even here, he's talking about him being homeless and wandering around down in Los Angeles and everything else. And yeah, this is something that Adrienne Lucienne's always wanted to do.
Things where I told him that too. I'm like, you just want to be out here just to say you're out here. Like, that's not going to work, man. It's tough to be out here. Hell, being in Boise, I looked up the cost of living in Boise. It's astronomical right now. Like, it's like one of the top 10 most expensive cities in America. So I'm like, Adrian, anywhere you go, you're going to have to work or, do something to sustain yourself. It's not going to just be like, in Toledo, man, you could find somebody who will let you crash at their house and some relative or friend or something like that. But he's moving to places where he's like, doesn't really know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's how I'm assuming he got involved with these people. He made it seem like he seen like, maybe it was an ad on Craigslist or something like that. Then he reached out to him. He had a little cash, and they're like, "Yeah, you can move in." But I see here. I know he would do stuff like that because he did stuff like that in L.A. And but overall, I don't see. Because I remember I read something. I seen the interview. I think somebody interviewed Brandon. Did somebody talk to him on FaceTime or something like that?
Somebody talked to him. JLR.
That's the guy. Matter of fact, that was the guy I messaged to. He was somebody I met. He never hit me back, but that was another guy I messaged. And I seen that he was talking about how Adrian was like, yeah, he just likes to play music and he just wanted to do music every day over there. That's Adrian. That's true. That's the Adrian I know. He'll be wanting to be, as long as he got a laptop somewhere, he'll be trying to make beats and do a whole bunch of goofy stuff. Yeah. So that's when I was like, okay, this guy clearly is around Adrian because that's all he does. Outside of that, see, I couldn't really get into his MO. But then again, when Adrian got caught with that meth in Bowling Green, I had no idea he was doing stuff like that either. So,
yeah,
I'm assuming it's a lot of things I don't. That's why I started leaning to believing like I think he probably do know something, because I'm like, how well do I really know him in the last 5-6 years? You know what I mean?
And then Jay just straight up says it, like, how much do I even really know him? And probably not much. This is the last clip, and then after this last clip, I'm going to round it up really quick so I can get off to my game night. Let's go ahead and start this up.
I think he probably do know something, because I'm like, how well do I really know him in the last 5-6 years? You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. I mean, and you know, can't blame me for cutting ties and stuff, because his life isn't that great.
That was tough, but yeah, it was more so like me. I got other friends, and we're like, you know, we were getting older. I was probably like 28. I'm like, man, I got my girlfriend looking to marry and all this stuff. I'm like, you know, and I see him every time I hit him up. Hey, let's hang out, man. Let's smoke. Let's hang out. And I'm like, look, man, if you know, I'm not saying you have to be doing well and all that, but damn, dude, you got like 5 kids you don't take care of. That just don't sit right with me, hanging out with you. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I'm trying to get him jobs.
Callie, he had some talent. He just, he gave it all up for what? He had all kinds of talent playing basketball. Gave it all up for nothing. To live his life like a bum.
Helping them get jobs and all this stuff, pointing them direction of, like, you need to be doing this. I've been told him, like, hey, so basically they'll get a job, I'll give you a job. And my boy at the car plant, and, you know, you save some money, then you come back out and stuff like that. And like, he always just got pissed off and was upset when I used to say that. But I'm like, bro, it's the truth. Like, you're not on your feet. You don't have any family out here. It's not sustainable for you to be here. You're not coming to stay with me. You never even been to my house. So at that point, I'm just like, you know, he just cool. And he was like, oh, it was some other stuff. You jealous of me? And I'm like, why would I be jealous of you? Like, that didn't make sense. I'm like, I kind of pity you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel sorry for you.
Do you know who he hangs out with and stuff when he goes to like DC?
He hasn't been in DC since. No, the only reason he was in DC at all was because his mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she relocated there probably 2011. She relocated to DC, and then
Well, we know that Adrian was in a shelter there in DC. I want to say 2 years ago.
Okay, he might have bounced. See, Adrian, he does so much bouncing around. He might have went down there for a while. Adrian also has a brother who's a school teacher in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Pete, you wouldn't know that because that's just solely on his dad's side. His name is actually Frank Lucienne Jr. He lives in New York. He's a school teacher. He was another one that was kind of, you know, he used to have Adrian come to New York, but he's probably at the wits with him too, where he doesn't deal with Adrian at all. Adrian, he gets to this point where you can't. His energy sometimes could be like you don't trust him. Something's off, you know. Adrian was always. I'll tell you a funny story. Adrian was at Hargrave, and he came back home for. What is it? What do you call it? He came back home for Christmas break. So at the prep school, he would come back home around Christmas for maybe a week or so. And then he came back home, and I partake in marijuana. I'm a cannabis advocate. There's no shame in that for me.
Right.
So I'm in high school though. This is my senior year, and Adrian, me and him hang out that night. We went somewhere, smoked a little weed, and he was staying at my house that night. And once he walked into the house, he was always like, "Yo, just go straight to my room." You know, I'm like, "All right, my mom's gonna know this." I'm like, "Just go straight to her room. Let's not, don't even have a conversation." This guy goes, as soon as he walks in, my mother comes out. he says, I'm like, hey, keep walking. He stops me directly to my mom and says, he said, hey, he said, hey, Adrian, how you doing? She was, I'm high as F right now. I'm sorry.
Adrienne Lucienne walks into the house after he's told his friend, just keep on walking. I had to redact a little bit of information right there because he says his mom's name. Jade says his mom's name. So that was a little bit redacted, but yeah, he throws himself and Jay under the bus with his mom, two guys stoned as hell coming into the house. And for what? Why would Adrienne do that?
And I'm looking at him like, dude, what is wrong with this guy?
Oh my God.
And my mom was like, she was pissed. She was like, you smoking too? And at that point, I'm just kind of like stuck, like, whoa, you know.
Getting his friend in trouble, throwing his friend under the bus, just like Adrienne's throwing other people under the bus right now, but they ain't Sarah, Stacy, and Brandon. Why? Why isn't he throwing them under the bus? Why is he throwing the Pope twins under the bus and Alexi under the bus? Why is he talking about Nate Miles? Why is he talking about Renee? Why does he talk about all these other people when there's 3 people that are suspects right along with him? You got to ask yourself that, because other people are involved. And Fruitland Police Department, J.D. Huff said it himself. These are the suspects and there could be more involved. And now we know with the probable affidavit or probable cause affidavit that if Michael was to be sold, there are other people involved because there has to be sellers or buyers. I mean, you have these 4 being the sellers, and then there are buyers. Who are they? Who they connected it to? And they're connected to Adrienne and Brandon. They're connected to RSOs. They're connected to drug trafficking and sex trafficking, but they're all connected. And yeah, Adrienne Lucienne sounds jealous of his friend, trying to get his friend in trouble, throwing him under the bus. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Where I come from, you don't throw your best friend under the bus to your mom for smoking a little smoke.
That's the kind of stuff that's the kind of guy. He's just very spontaneous, and that's why I can't really trust this guy. Like, he's liable to say anything. You know what I mean? So
right.
that ties into now with the drug use and all that. He's liable to anything. He's liable to say anything, and him throwing other people in there kind of makes it seem like he's covering something up. Again, that's why.
Oh, you're cutting out again pretty bad.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there you are.
He's a loose cannon, and that's one thing I do know about him.
Yeah, that's some odd stuff to be saying walking into your mom's house. That's for sure. It almost makes you wonder if that was like a cry for help to a mother, because he would never be able to admit that kind of thing to his own mom. You know what I mean? Or, you know, trying to get you in trouble. Was he that kind of friend? He really does have some really strange, odd behavior.
Yeah, very, and it ties back into what my mom was saying, like, he had to shrink and something was wrong with him at a young age. So, yeah, all that kind of ties in. I mean, yeah, it gets, I don't know how to explain it, but I never trusted the guy. I never trusted him. And that was kind of my issue with him as a friend. I'm like, you know, I love him to death, but the dude just, I wouldn't, honestly, he was a bad influence on me too. I can honestly say that. Certain things that he had me involved in, or he'll just do around you. Like, for instance, like this whole case, right? Say if I was just there, say if you, hey, come to Idaho, man. I'm just like, all right. I'm in Idaho for whatever reason. He says, come over. And now I'm at these people's house and I'm involved in this stuff. See what I'm saying?
Right.
He would easily be.
I mean, Jay was straight up tripping on that. Like, what if Adrienne would have called me to Idaho, had me hanging out with all of him and his friends, and then something like this happens, and then, Jay's involved, and then he's in trouble. And he's saying Adrien's got him in trouble before, tried to, whatever, and was a bad influence to even Jay. Everybody in Adrien's life cut Adrian off. His mom, his dad, his brother, his sister, now his best friend. Adrian, explain yourself. Just come forward, talk to law enforcement.
Able to bring you involved situations like that without you, and then you don't know until the shit hits the fan.
Damn. I'm really glad that you reached out to me. I was a little bit sketched out at first, but I'm really glad that we were able to talk and stuff and just...
I was totally sketched out when he reached out to me and asked me to call him. I'm on the phone with him, and after a huge long conversation or two, I finally told him, I just did a live about gang members and stuff, and it tripped me out that you got a hold of me and wanted to talk to me. I was completely sketched out. He was sketched out to talk to me.
I like learning about all of these suspects because that's just what I do. I like investigating it all and try to putting the pieces and stuff together, and you've helped me really make sense out of his life and where he come from, and it kind of just sucks that his life went the opposite direction of the way he was raised, because it really does sound like he had an amazing family. Anytime you got a question, you can message me. I'll keep my messenger open for you. If you remember anything else from the day that Michael disappeared, when he was talking about Applebee's, or any information you remember, I would love to have that information. And if you're interested in talking with law enforcement, give them a call.
This is what I'll do. In the next few months, I know, at least by my birthday in January, that's one thing he's consistent of. He always messages me from a random account and tells me happy birthday. So, in the last couple of years, in the last year, I didn't even respond to him. But I kind of deleted it and I blocked I was like, dude, I don't want nothing to do with this guy. But now, if he does reach out to me, I'm gonna try to get a conversation with him. I'm gonna eventually try to, not right out, but I'm going to try to ease my way into the conversation about, hey, what happened with that case, and see where he goes with it, because he doesn't know the information I know now. So I can kind of decipher, hey, he's lying about this, he's lying, this is true, this is not. So I definitely want to have a conversation to see, and maybe if I could fish some more information out of him, I'll probably pass it on, because at this point, I just want justice for the kid as well. At least for his parents to have some kind of closure,
Yeah, he was only 5 years old.
So there you have it. There is the end of that last clip. Everybody, please share Michael Vaughan. He was abducted July 27th of 2021 in Fruitland, Idaho, in his neighborhood. There are 4 suspects: Stacy Wandra, Sarah Wandra, Adrienne Lucienne, and Brandon Shirtliff. You guys think you can run, but you cannot. You will not be able to hide. You're not going to be able to go anywhere. Michael deserves justice, and all 4 of you have information to give law enforcement. 2 of you, I believe, know exactly where Michael is, and you need to start talking Sarah and Brandon. Charges have came up. Stacy Wandra has been charged with first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence. There is evidence out there. On October 31st, the district attorney said that he is moving forward with charges against the individuals in the disappearance and murder of 5-year-old Michael Vaughan. If you have any information about the 4 suspects, about Michael's abduction, please call law enforcement. Let them decide whether or not your tip is credible. 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. No tip is too big or too small. Be Michael's hero. Be the family's hero. Help law enforcement and help the family. They have gone through so much. And now more than ever, any and all information could help. Really help, as court hearings and everything and charges have now came out on suspects. Don't hold it in. If you've been thinking about calling law enforcement and you haven't because you're scared, you can remain anonymous. There's a over $50,000 reward for information leading to the discovery of Michael Vaughan. So please call law enforcement 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight, joining me. I really appreciate everybody for coming in. I know that Brandy Vaughan and the whole Vaughan family loves seeing so many people in chat, so many people showing up for Monkey. Share his beautiful face and smile, and let the world know that Monkey's Army is not quiet. We're not going away. That's never going to happen. The Vaughan family is stuck with every single one of us, and they're definitely stuck with me. And I will never stop bringing awareness for Monkey until charges come out, until people are behind bars and have been charged. I'm just never going to stop. And neither are a lot of other creators. And remember, when you're out there on the YouTube streets, don't listen to the rumors. Don't listen to the lies that are being spread by certain people. Tyler and Brandy have nothing to do with Michael's disappearance. And anybody that thinks that, in my opinion, is very ignorant, because if you follow the case, if you look at the proof, the evidence, and you hear Stacey Wandra's own words, or read the probable cause affidavit, you know that these 4 suspects are suspects for a reason. I mean, Stacey Wandra isn't going to give a tip like that, write a letter, and then try to unalive himself unless something was really going on the inside of him. I don't know if I want to call it guilt or what, because then he ends up turning around and talking to Brandy like crap afterwards, but that's here nor there. I'm just saying, I believe in my heart that justice will be served, that law enforcement and the district attorney have done everything they possibly can to bring Monkey home, and they're not going to stop. They're never going to stop. What does J.D. Huff say? You cannot do this to one of our own and think you will ever get away with it. Don't forget, 5 cadaver dogs hit in the backyard where Michael Vaughan was buried. Cadaver dogs hit at Brandon Shirtliff's mom's house, where Michael Vaughan was taken to the night he was abducted. And out of 300 homes in the neighborhood where Michael Vaughan and the Wanderers lived, out of all of those houses, out of 300 houses, the dogs picked up a scent of Michael Vaughan, not only at the Wanderers' house, but where a witness said they saw Michael Vaughan riding a tricycle, where that tricycle was later dumped down the bluff, and behind a sign where the tricycle sat. Michael Vaughan was on a tricycle, and the dogs picked up that scent. And out of all of the places that the dogs, could have picked up a scent, it was only where Michael Vaughan was, including the exact spot where Michael Vaughan was abducted from, is another place where dogs hit on Michael's scent. Michael was looking for someone to play with. He was seen by neighbors in his neighborhood. There are so many facts that we do know now. And we will go over the probable cause affidavit even more at a later time, but I'm just trying to push out as much information as I can on Michael's case right now and put some pressure on the suspects, because these suspects need that pressure. We need to keep bringing awareness for Monkey. He deserves it. I'm never going to stop, you guys. I am never, ever going to stop. I appreciate you all being here. I am going to have my game night with my girlfriends, and Kelly Brandy's sister says here, not only was the scent at the house the first week that Michael went missing, but several cadaver dogs hit on that home years later. That's not a coincidence. Yes, and it wasn't years later. It was a year later. The cadaver dogs hit November of 2022. So, well, I guess it was almost a couple of years. You're right. But thank you, beautiful moderators, for coming in. Thank you all so much for coming in. I appreciate you all. Thank you, all new members tonight. I really appreciate having you as a Missing PNW Whisperer. Thank you guys for the super chats. I really appreciate all of that. Click the notification bell because I am very famous for Spur of the Moment Lives. Subscribe, become a member, or just give me a thumbs up on the way out. And even if you're out there lurking, give a thumbs up. Get this out in the algorithm so that Michael Vaughan's story can be shared. And you don't have to share my lives, share other lives, share whatever you want. Just share Michael Vaughan. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I will see you very, very soon. Love you guys.